Train going in the way of Cloud9 in a pretty easy fashion there. 16-9 being your, or excuse me, 16-8 being your score line. In a pretty much one-sided affair. OpTic having quite the showing himself. But before we dive into that, let's kind of get a big picture look at what was going on here, guys.
I mean, in many ways, it was as expected in the sense that we saw OpTic kind of getting abused and caught off guard by but whenever they went to a slower pace style, you could see OpTic especially, you know, having a lot of success with being aggressive on in Ivy, for instance, but you also saw, you know, multiple times where Cloud9 were able to get up and close out in yard and just disrupt whatever execute that was coming in from OpTic, and OpTic were never really able to actually do much about that.
No, I agree. It wasn't too bad on the T side. They managed to swing around 6 rounds. It isn't too bad. You know, Gate especially had some nice rounds as well. Good to see for him that this young prospect can come over here and go toe-to-toe with some of the best in Cloud9. So that's a positive for them. I want to say, though, as you said, you know, kind of as expected and as expected as for the CT side as well. Like, it doesn't stand a chance against a Cloud9 who's well-drilled, especially not when OpTic is playing like this.
Yeah.
It's just a problem for them, and it's something they're gonna work out. One of the things that I don't like about this OpTic lineup thus far is the fact that Shazam is not off to a good start. He's been looking a little bit lackluster, and knowing that guy and you know, hearing about the guy, like, he's one of those guys you want to make sure feel comfortable in this team. Otherwise, I think he can cause a lot of like tensions within the team. So they're gonna find out, like, you know, how to get Shazam into playing well, because he was in the later Misfits days one of their best performers as well, and actually like feeling comfortable in the team. Yeah. And he's not feeling comfortable right now. At least not what we've seen thus far. You know, it could be just a few matches. You know, it's still early to say. But that's definitely one of the things that have to be on point about, because Shazam not being happy on a team, that's going to be a problem for a team.
Well, I think when we look at a team like OpTic, we can also say, okay, this is their debut. Was here at ESL Pro League. A lot of hype surrounding this lineup, and can they find the steps or the ways that they're going to transition the way they practice into the games themselves? Because some teams, believe it or not, don't practice how they play, and it usually, or it can spell disaster for, you know, several teams.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an issue. Obviously, it's kind of a, you know, you want to practice what you preach in many ways, and you know, what you do, I guess in your off time when you're not playing official games, that's what you have. That's where you put the groundwork into what you actually deliver. So that's going to be a necessity for me. I think the point that Pimp brought out, the fact that Shazam hasn't really come into his own yet, is a massive issue. Simply because back in Misfits, he was. I wouldn't say the team was necessarily built around him, but Sean Gares did a really good job of making sure Shazam had his space and kind of like the freedom he needed to move about and actually be efficient. Whether or not Stanislaw is going to make the same kind of adjustments for him, considering he has more prominent players surrounding Shazam this time around, is going to be a bit of a question mark. But I think that's how you get the best out of Shazam, and depending on, you know, how flexible the other players on that squad are, especially you know, obviously the Danes. You know, that could be an interesting dynamic to see how it pans out, and also how much of a bullet, you know, Stanislaw is willing to jump in front of, or like, because he's going to have to make sacrifices. Right. He is the lesser skilled individual on that side.
He's always been the concessions.
He's always been one of those in-game leaders, you know, in OpTic back in the days. Like, he was one of the fracking in-game leaders in Liquid when we brought him in back in our lineup. He was supposed to be like a fracking in-game leader. He was not supposed to be the guy who like taking a lot of bullets and stuff like that.
What's that word?
What's that?
The one you just said.
A fracking in-game leader?
Okay, a fragging.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify, because when you said it at first, like, family show, blah, 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 something.
Yeah, okay.
Fragging in-game leader, which is a new phenomenon, and we're seeing across many teams, actually, the ability for them to come in and have an impact in more ways than just strategic, and having sort of some firepower behind them.
For sure, and that's why we brought him in Liquid, like, because we knew he was a stable player, especially on the CT side. You want to have an in-game leader who can frag well, right? And Shazam is, not Shazam, so Stanislaw is one of those players. He can hold on his own, you know. You can put him on the inside on bomb train and just, like, leave him for himself, you know, because he's that skilled. And, you know, as said, you know, I have a lot of question marks about this OpTic lineup. One of them being Shazam, like how much space is he going to get. Another one is, like, Stanislaw is not willing to take that many bullets. I don't believe that. And in order for them to make this team work, like, he has to take a lot and take a lot of bullets. And I just don't see it happening with the way they compose these players right now.
It was always going to be a weird composition from the get-go. Right when they announced this lineup, it was one of those, it's like, well, this has got some weird things going on around this whole camp, right?
Definitely.
And I mean, even to dive into that further, we can all talk a little bit about personalities outside of the game, where they clash in the game, this, that, and the other. You guys could probably attest more to the Danish side. But I think that lineup has enough individual skill, enough individual firepower, especially when you have a guy like Gade who's able to come in here and just destroy. He's able to put down enough numbers for his team, but it's not going to be just him that is able to carry them to W's.
No, and it's true. Like they do have the individual players to put up a good showing and actually be a very competitive team in Pro League. But again, it's all about how you mix and match it. If Gade's performances and his frag is coming off, as off the back of the sacrifice of Shazam completely and what kind of impact he can bring, then you have to weigh the pros and cons of whether or not what Gade gives you is enough to justify sacrificing Shazam, or it should be a better balance between it. All that kind of stuff is obviously for them to figure out, and they need official matches to actually be able to do so as well.
Trial and error
Yeah.
is what they say. But in the big picture, when the lights are on, when you're on the stage, so to say, the quote-unquote stage in your room where you're playing from home, of course. Well, it's time for another GameFlip.com pre-match segment. We're going to take a look as we go into our next map. It's going to be Mirage, which could spell the same number for OpTic Gaming, but I just think that's what's going to happen, quite frankly. Mirage is a map that Cloud9 has found quite a bit of comfort on over the years. In one map that way back when they just vetoed every time, right away.
I'm looking forward to see how OpTic is going to deal with that hyper-aggressive T-side Cloud9 is coming in with. We saw at the major in particular when they beat SK Gaming, like how they just demolished them, ran over them with no problems at all. And they've been practicing that style as well against other games on Mirage. So it requires something for OpTic to hold that back, as well as OpTic. It is one of those maps that allows them to be a little bit more individual. We talk about they have a lot of individuals, so this is the map they actually get to show that. The problem is that Cloud9 is just too good on Mirage, right? It's like two really good maps for them going into a best of two, if you can say that. So I'm having a hard time to see how OpTic is going to win this one. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, just due to the map and the way that's laid out. But how do you think they're going to deal with that aggressive from Cloud9, right? It's going to be tough.
That's the real worry for me, because you saw Train is a map that doesn't necessarily allow itself for as much aggression as a map like Mirage does, and they were already having enough issues with that to start with. So going into Mirage, you have more avenues for CTs to actually get up in their face and be disruptive. And that's something that Cloud9 actually thrive on, both on the T side and the CT side, right? So for Cloud9, I'm kind of seeing this as a more of a business as usual kind of game. Well, for OpTic, it's going to be a real big test to see whether or not they actually, first off, figure out what their flaws on Train were and see how that's actually a problem that could transfer into other maps as well, and how well they actually adapt to it.
I think you guys talking about up in the face sort of Counter-Strike, and it's interesting to me because you could tell from Automatic's gameplay in the last map where he had a no respect approach to the game, but still kind of gave them some consideration because these guys
measured,
aren't
right? Like, it's a smart player.
They're not new on the block. I mean, he gave them just enough respect to run all over them.
Kind of like the opposite of a Config player, right? We talked about it out there. Like Config is one of those hyper-aggressive players, but he's not measured with it. Like often he's like overconfident and too aggressive and doesn't have a stop button. Whereas I feel Cloud9 is a team with confidence, and they play aggressive. Steel 2K is a great example as well. But it seems like there's a stop button. Like they know when to push the limits and they know where the limits are, and then fall back and actually play measured Counter-Strike. That's one of the problems OpTic and Config has maybe as a player in general, that he maybe needs to polish a little bit to become even better player. Because there's no doubt that Config is one of the best players in the world when he's on top and when he's on top of his form. But as said, it's just going to be business as usual for Cloud9. I don't see OpTic, coming in and winning this map. Again, could be closer just due to the map. There's a lot of close clutch situations, and it's going to see a lot of after plans probably as well. So, again, if they're hitting their shots, then it could be close.
Could be close. And I think that has to be the story we're looking at. We're waiting on a few OpTic players to do whatever it is that they're doing and join the server. Shouldn't be much further out from this moment in time. Are there any things that could play in the way of OpTic? I mean, we could talk a little bit about Config getting aggressive and finding success with that, or what exactly could make something happen for them?
I think just this being an easier map to kind of find your groove for Shazam is going to be a big part of it. He's been really good with it in the past as well. So I think having Shazam show up on Mirage, that's going to be a big difference for OpTic.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't see many chances for OpTic, but one of them would be Shazam turning up. But problem is we haven't seen him done the previous game, so it's looking hard for them.
Well, no strangers to turning up are these next two individuals who were turning up in the break there between maps, of course, Train and Mirage. Now where the party will be the commentary duo that is Harold and Jason. Guys, welcome back. How was dinner?
I didn't have any. He had a pizza.
Oh.
You look skinny today, Moses.
Pizza. Pimp called it a pizza, but it's just pita bread with chicken in. But it was good.
Well, beggars can't be choosers.
No, I know.
They say, Harry, take it away.
It's all Pimp's fault.
Exactly.
Yes. That's all I gathered from that. Mirage coming up now. And I think this is Cloud9. They're set to have a nice little 2-0 run this evening, which is quite nice for them. overall, and this is a map that's been very kind to them in the past as well. So certainly OpTic once again with their work cut out for them.
Yeah, no, Cloud9 are very good on this map. It is going to be tricky for OpTic, there's no denying it. The one thing I think, that could be going their way is you can just kind of pug this map out. I know that's not necessarily going to work versus Cloud9, but when you look at it, a team that hasn't had too much time to build up a, like a very in-depth strat book, everyone kind of knows the default ways of playing this map, I suppose.
Yeah, and considering some of the players on this OpTic side, like Config, Shazam with the EWP, Stanislaw as well, these are guys that are good in open spaces, and you have Cajun on an op. He's very experienced in this map as well, as a secondary opper, so another map where the double op setup can be very explosive. So they've certainly got some things, maybe not necessarily in their favor, but some things that they can rely on if all else starts to collapse. This round getting started here in the opening half. Stanislaw with the kit and a smoke, and look at the aggression and underpass. 3 players here, and they're going to run right into Cloud9. It's a very narrow choke point, and they're going to swing right back out. Stewie, great triple kill. That's beautiful. Handling those last 2 players with ease and with style. Now, realizing one is on the ticket booth as well. Can't spot him over the smoke, but the rest of the hit is on 2 players here for OpTic. Double kill for Gade, and that's the bomb down.
Yeah, it's back and forth. Gade, he's the man to pull it back into a good situation for OpTic. Automatic starts to flank round through CT spawn. Stan has to be ready for this, and he is. He's just going to be holding down the angle. Skadoodle in the meantime pushing up through ramp. Automatic, does he win the opening duel? Missed shots from Stan, and missed shots from both parties. Stanislaw gets the hell out of there. They're putting this together, but now Skadoodle takes the fight, and Automatic, he's tagged down to 3 HP. This would be an insane clutch from him. When they double peek into it, Stan finishes him off and finally picks that frag up, cementing the pistol around there for OpTic.
That's a very ugly fight from Automatic, who we saw with such precision with that Glock on the Terrace run of Train. Regardless, I think Cloud9 maybe got ahead of themselves with those 3 kills, thinking it's all but secured and kind of rushing up into that A-bomb site. They really tunnel visioned on that player at the ticket booth. Now, it kind of makes sense to a little bit why they'd assume that that bomb site was mostly open. 3 players in underpass. You'd always expect there to be at least 1 defender inside the B bomb site. And they were caught off guard by the second one over at A. Scout not going to land a tag. But at least Cloud9 does get mid control. Deagles are out, CZs are out. Plenty of weapons to do some damage.
Yeah, toying with the idea maybe of boosting a player up into window. It looks like Tarek might be the one who goes up and over. Shazam's going to peek into it. Does manage to get the first tag. Stewie down low as well in the engagement. Scout and Stewie going to start to wrap round up into the ladder room. Bomb in the meantime's double back. On over here to A. Shazam has spotted out Stewie with that scout config. Gonna hear all the noise being made. Gade's gotten rid of Rush, and well, Stewie has put out a find Shazam, but they still have more work to do out here toward A.
Automatic is so deadly with that Deagle, but it might not even matter. As Cajun pushes up, destroys the players in middle for C9, and Automatic now not aware of that player. Adjusts well, config's down, and Cajun's gonna find a third as well. Only 2 kills coming out for C9. A good second round for OpTic. I dropped some papers.
That's okay, Jace. Everyone makes a mistake a day. Trace makes multiple, but
He does, doesn't he?
that's kind of why we love him. He's not afraid to admit it. But here's Stewie with the D. He's not a man of many mistakes. He looks to try and open things up over here in mid, along with the rest of the team. It's just going to be a nice little run boost over. Doesn't actually fool anyone. Shazam is there, spots all these players aggressing down through connector. Ooh, but config. He's got so much information on the back. Ooh, Stewie. Okay. Don't really know who to be making a big deal of right now, but Shazam's gone down. And they are holding for this aggression. Cajun B starts to lock it down over a mid. Now config goes rushing in, and it's going to encounter the players that reside here. Stewie's in with a second now on this Deagle. So they've done damage. Same amount of kills found in this as in the previous, and they still have 2 players up.
All right, so both players are going to split. So essentially what they're trying to do is Stewie's hoping that automatic towards that B bomb site can make something happen, get a kill, make some presence perhaps. Pull the rotation away from that A bomb site. Now Stanislaw is such a dirty angle. I don't think automatic's gonna be ready for this whatsoever. Slow peeks into it. Here's the fake. Stewie with a chance with his deagle, and he makes the most of it. Takes out Gade. Now they're gonna get a bomb plant. Now, still not likely that he's gonna actually win this round, but the plant is so very good. 3 kills as well, so that third round, excuse me, for Cloud9 is huge. Takes away some of the money, forces rebuys, and the extra $800 towards C9 is gonna help kind of recuperate some of those losses from the second round investment.
And you always start to, I mean, I always start to believe maybe a little bit too early. I really had faith, because when Stewie starts lining up shots like that with the Deeg, he is a real threat. 7 kills. The only other person on the team with any is automatic with 1. But now the buy comes in for Cloud9. Going to have AKs across the board. No AWP to contend with Shazam, who has got his out. Already just a barrage of smokes going on over into mid. 1 for short, 1 for window, and 1 down at the top of connector. Going to be given all the ground they want here over in middle.
They should be able to get something from this. 1 coming from underpass as well. Rush still over towards A. Pretty default setup for the OpTic defense. 1 up at the vent and ladder room. 1 at the bottom of that ladder, so some dangerous points here for C9. Still haven't committed, and Cajun will be able to spot if anyone goes in and towards connector. Are they going to clear this? It's not the most uncommon position, and no, they don't actually check. He gives it up, though. He makes a mistake and actually misses the jump as well. Now he's got to use his smoke to get himself out. That smoke is perfectly timed as well as the Molotov comes in. Somehow they've gotten away with no danger. Automatic, though, reacts perfectly to Gade. Wasn't aware he was there initially, and Tarek now pressuring up towards jungle. Wins the battle against Config, but Cajun is here. They line up, but no kills come out, and Shazam with the op. He's got to do so much. First kill comes his way. When does Stanislaw pounce? Right towards connector, and Tarek is low as well. This is still salvageable for OpTic, especially with that win. Into a 2-on-2. From a 5-on-2, Cloud9 has dropped 3.
Yeah, and Tarek, while he is in the back line, and they're not going to know he's here, he has to move quite quickly. He's only got 1 HP, and he's left Rush to fend for himself over an A in the hope that he can catch Stanislaw unaware. But the timing won't allow this to come through. Now you're entirely reliant on Rush winning these fights out inside of the site with players wrapping onto him. Tarek's made noise, and that does at least stop Stan from peeking through jungle. Shazam's going to go running on in, and he'll get caught in the crossfire. Now it is just Tarek. 1 versus 2. He's tagged up Shazam. Hadn't been able to find it, but peek out from Stan shuts him down, and that's going to be OpTic back with a 4th round.
Such a tough call for Tarek as well once he's getting that kill onto Shazam. A really good round in the terms of the plant and the 4 kills, but I mean, that's a round that Cloud9 certainly should have won. That was a 2-on-5 for OpTic, and they're able to recover from it very well, much like the pistol round, which I think ended up being a 2-on-4, but Cloud9 really needs to clean up the later stage of these rounds, the decisions they're making towards the end of them, because they've given up a couple here that has allowed OpTic to get a 4-0 lead. I imagine we'll see Cloud9 buy into this as well. Look at the pretty smoke. Yeah, nice landing. Stuck it. Gold medal. Well, Shazam going to get aggressive into the flames for just a little bit. Now going to come back. Maintaining presence in mid for as long as possible. Stanislaw towards B. This is a huge, huge play. He's going to have so much information. He's going to allow rotations to cheat pretty much anywhere on the map with that kind of positioning. So Cloud9 not being aware is a big, big problem.
Definitely is. They are set up to go walking in to the stack, and actually already Config, and he had to drop out Stewie down here in middle. So Shazam going to answer back with another. As Cloud9 just getting picked apart right now. Can't find any way of getting their foot in the door. Gade, along with Config, still reside over here at A, and Rush is starting to walk on in. Skadoodle here to try and help him out. Rush creeping on in, over in the sandwich. Slight damage onto Gade, but Config's there to help him out of danger. Skadoodle's able to trade, but it's all on Tarek, who goes barreling through the smoke. Config finds him, and once again, it's a pretty clean round for OpTic. They're going to go 5-0 up with now no money for Cloud9 to buy.
OpTic is making all the plays across this map. That round was really well done from them. That peek towards underpass, the Molotov to keep that player frozen. The attention that Stanislav provided, he didn't stick around in that position just to grab information, just made his presence known that he was pushed aggressively, and that causes the underpass player to kind of turn around and really let that play come to fruition. I think the next gun round for Cloud9, we're going to see them be much more faster paced, much more aggressive, because they can't keep letting OpTic have control and be able to make these plays on the entire map. They need to take some of it away from the CT side.
Yeah, definitely. Right now it has been very measured from Cloud9. And OpTic have taken that in their stride. This time, they're stacked up over here outside the A-bomb site. They leave Rush down in the bottom of mid. He looks to try and come in a little bit late with this split up through connector. Shazam's holding it for the time being, but as the players from Cloud9 start to progress out into the site, you imagine that will change. Gade down here in Sandwich. Going to be keeping an eye up on Palace, although Config's now started to back away. There could be a window here where Shazam gets caught out in the open. If the peek comes in from Tarek at the right time, Shazam just turns his attention back. The timing couldn't be better for him. Config going to get rid of one, and it's a slaughter over here in A. Automatic's the last man left, and he goes down. OpTic down 6-0. This time they keep 5 alive, so the round's getting cleaner and cleaner.
And I mean, all that damage that Cloud9 did to the economy of the OpTic side of things, all that kind of, they had things limited early on despite, 3-4 rounds won for OpTic. It's all gone to waste now. 5 players surviving. I think it was 4 in the previous round. So the money building back up for this defense, and 5 AKs coming out for C9. I said they were going to pick up the pace. This might actually be a not fast-paced round, but it is just going to be a straight-up hit towards this A bomb site. And there's 3 players here for OpTic. Now, they do just rotate towards connector, but they have time to get back before the hit comes in. Gade looks like he's going to be the only one left. Top of ramp, right behind the smoke. Not being completely blinded. The follow-up flashbang is perfect. So is the third. He does end up getting one. Now they need to push forward. They need to get out of this choke point, but the rotation is here. Config all alone. He's going to pounce right now. A double spray down. Goes for 3. That's beautiful. Config with the hold. The aggression through the smoke on top stairs, and Cloud9 is stumped once again.
This is unreal right now from OpTic. They're looking so good. Look at this confidence on Config. He slips on down and then just gets those first 2 with the spray transfer and then mops up the 2 remaining players at the end. He is looking confident. And confident Config isn't one I would want to be facing anytime soon. Cloud9 looking like they might try their hand at an A play once again, this time with Tarek over in mid. Gade going aggressive over onto ramp once more. This time, Swag is out of the corner. Rush is going to... Oh, he doesn't check it. Goes running on through. Gade's gotten 2 now, and that's the bomb dropped as well. So OpTic, it's another fantastic start from them. Automatic going to fall up in Palace. He was the only man nearby who could have traded. Stewie's somehow all the way down in CT. But still 2 versus 4. Config going to dispatch of Stewie. Leaves this all onto Tarek.
I really like what I'm seeing out of Gade. He's his aim, his mechanical skills have been pretty crisp, and for a player coming from an academy team and also with that label of the in-game leader, it's not necessarily what you'd expect, but he's been playing very solid for OpTic in these past couple days. This has been a very good game from him, even if he's not, topping the charts in terms of numbers. And now OpTic, hit the brakes. Don't lose anyone else. Keep the money strong. Keep the economy rolling. And Tarek is in a 1 versus 4. It's going to be 8-0, which is crazy to think about. Hides his footsteps as he drops down, swings out and finds Config. That's a good kill, but still so much to do. 30 seconds left. And now he's got 2 to his right, and he won't even get 1 of them.
So OpTic are looking pretty good on Mirage. 8-0 lead right now versus Cloud9, the major champions.
Yeah, this map was one of the mainstays as well of that run. So this is very impressive from OpTic. In the short span they've been together, a lot of the skill shining through. We've seen some aggressive, confident plays from Config, solid opping out of Shazam. Gade just straight up doing his job. It's been very cool. This 8-0 start we've had, and now Cloud9, they've been stumped over at A a number of times. Why not try the B bomb site? Stanislav's here, Cajun is here as well. They're going to give away the hit. Molotov's going to come in to slow things down. How effective will they be? A lot of utility being used, but there's players coming through underpass as well. So Cloud9 trying to set something up, and Gade is going to have a lot of tension. He spots the boost out. Won't even go for the follow-up. He's just happy to have stopped that play, and Stanislav holding at the top of the van as well. Now Cajun B, the crossfire, the bait and switch, and everything closed for Cloud9. This round is a disaster again.
Yeah, Rush is now the only man over here toward B. He's going to get finished off. OpTic in with their 9th. The buy can come in for Cloud9 in the next. But that is pretty grim compensation for this scoreline. They managed to get a buy on up. They won't have the AWP in play. I don't really think we've seen Skadoodle with it.
I was just going to say the same thing. I don't think I've seen him with it, but he might just go for it this time because of that fact. Might go for it with no armor, and yeah, he is. Smoke flash picked up. Desperate times, desperate measures, and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's one of the switch-ups I guess we can see out of Cloud9 if they want to try and make it work. We haven't seen some of that trademark, like, really fast presence towards mid from C9. It's an off angle from Config. He gets dinked and pushed back, and teammate gonna put out the Molotov. So he does get away safely despite losing half his health. And OpTic losing a lot of HP. Stanislav either getting spammed or burned down, but he's gonna make this play one more time. And his decision making here could end the round for Cloud9 as well. I think with 29 HP, he might choose to stay in this position, allow Cajun B to kind of bait for him. That will keep 2 players in B halls for OpTic though, so they can't cheat anyone over. At the moment, no indication of what's coming. There's Stewie trying to push forward, not even aware that Stanislav would potentially be in that spot. 5-on-4 advantage.
Yeah, now with a minute left, they're going to start to turn their attention over here toward B. 3 players starting to push on up. OpTic holding down the fort over here in mid. It's Tarek, Skadoodle, and Rush to try and seize control of this B bomb site. Cajun B and Stan, they're the 2 players that stand in their way, and Stanislav, he's in the corner. They haven't checked it. He could just rain down death from up above. He's going to get himself at 1. Rush is able to trade back. It's a missed opportunity. 20 seconds left, though. Time ticking down. They have to move quite swiftly here. They line up for Rush, but he's only able to get 1. Now OpTic comes in with the late pincer. In through short, but with only 10 seconds, he has to get this bomb plant. And when he goes for it, they know he's just going to have to stick it. So he takes the peek in. They line up for him. Damage done, and OpTic's going to do it. 1v2 at the end. Lands the spray, and Cloud9 are finally, they're on to their first round.
Yeah, what a weird round for Cloud9 to win as well. Just he didn't even tap the bomb. He didn't even fake it out. That was just Config trying to gain an extra half second, perhaps jumping out of the window early on. And Shazam caught in the decision-making process of his teammates. So timeout from C9, and you can understand why. They only have 1 player survive there. They cannot get reset. Everything that they have in this next round is going to be invested. And they must win 2 in a row if they want to, try and build upon this to give themselves a chance into the second half. So a very important round coming up. The first one is perhaps the hardest, but this one is the most important. A reset here likely means at least 12 rounds for OpTic.
I mean, the pressure's really on for Cloud9. Even though it is not the most important match they've ever played, it's one that they really need to be getting under their belts, right? This division in NA is very competitive, and all the wins matter. I mean, obviously that's the case, but versus OpTic, the team that's only going to be getting better throughout the league, you want to be trying to take these wins early on while you get them. And Cajun B already peeking down through short with the AWP. Goes with some aggression over here in mid. 4 players. Actually, all 5 players fixating their sights over here on A. And Config, he's been found early on down here in mid. Now they boost on up into window. Have to split in through jungle and connector. Shazam looks like he was going to get caught out. There is still a man down in connector. He has to watch out for it. Tarek's going to find him, but now Gade emerges, and he's got in with a second, does drop the bomb. Skadoodle's able to trade things back, but Gade has made things even. Cajun B's going to extend it that much more, and now it all falls onto Stewie. 1 versus 2, starting to progress in through connector. Stan just biding his time in CT, making Stewie have to work for this. He knows the bomb's down in the middle of the site. There's 34 seconds left on that clock, so Stewie is going to be up against it. Gonna start to rotate over here toward B, but he's only got 20 seconds left. He has to move quickly, and I think that Cajun B's heard everything.
Yeah, this is a risky play, and yeah, Cajun definitely has heard something. He's dedicated himself to the bomb site. Now he definitely knows, and Stewie's not even going to get a chance. Even if he gets the kill at this point, which he's not going to. Great shot. Well, I say great shot, but I mean, you can't really miss from that range, can you? I really wanted to hype that one up. I wanted it to turn into something good, but yeah, outplayed entirely. Stewie not wanting to deal with having to find 2 players, and that's the disaster. That's the nightmare for Cloud9. This is going to be such a difficult half for them, and they say, why not? We need some rounds. We can't afford to save here, so they go for the buy. I think, you know, Skadoodle is invested into this with P250 armor and a full kit, and all that's left is some desperation. See if they can get in with the pistol. See if they can get some early kills. But OpTic has been so very good on this A-bomb site. Gade is going to be inside. Shazam with the op is going to be at the ticket booth, and even Config is here to cause distraction. Let's see how this works. Cloud9 turning in. Molotovs are out, preventing the quick rotate, and a triple spray down. Config through the edge of the smoke. Skadoodle's got to take him out inside the fire, and that's going to make things easy for Gade. Last player taken down as well. The initial battle is just being shut down every time C9 has gone towards A, and at this point, you got to wonder what the plan is for C9. Do they keep investing? Do they keep trying to get more with pistols? Or do they acknowledge that OpTic is just going to have an almost insurmountable lead?
Yeah, coming into this, the analysts painted quite a grim picture for OpTic in this map. And I think, you know, that's worth realizing. This is a very good performance right now from OpTic. You know, they weren't coming into this expecting, you know, being expected to win. Cloud9, you know, they still might not, but done a good job of it right now. Shazam, KGB working hard to get this round back under control. KGB just raining in death from short. All right, now onto a third. Skadoodle does take one with him, but that should be it. Stands there to trade, and OpTic gonna go 12-1 up.
Yeah, God bless. This is going to be a surprising performance to a lot of people to see OpTic such a dominating victory over Cloud9. That's kind of an interesting subject, some of the struggles that C9 have had after the major. You know, Stewie talked about it in a video at Katowice, that there was just I guess a lack of motivation is kind of the way he put it. Maybe not that, just, you know, they put so much into the major, they all just kind of wanted to take some time off, and obviously that's hitting them pretty hard at the moment. Config with a flashbang, gonna push up. 1 player blind, 2 players taken down. Rush eventually does return, and now Shazam is set up perfectly, but he misses the shot. 22 HP. Gade now in a weird position, although Stewie stops backing up. Perhaps saved his life. Stanislaus getting bored. He wants to push. Hasn't seen a whole lot of action over towards this B site. And again, in a pretty advanced position to gather information. A 4-on-3 for OpTic. Mid-control to Cloud9, but that's not going to matter too much when you wander into the crosshairs of the opposing sniper. Now Stewie's got to make some kind of a play. They're disconnected on the map. It's got to be this, and just too many eyeballs on the OpTic side of things for him to sneak by anyone, and Skadoodle left in a 1 versus 4. It'll be a 13th for OpTic.
Yeah, you really don't fancy Skadoodle's odds here whatsoever. Yeah, you're going to finish him off, and I'm really liking this OpTic CT side right now. They've had Cloud9's number quite a bit in these rounds. I like the aggression over towards top mid there from Config early on. And potential for them to pick this up 14-1, which would be massive for OpTic. Coming into this, of course, you know, not being together all that long.
It would take a lot of pressure off the second half, wouldn't it? If you have that 14-1 lead and you know you just have so many rounds to play with, and especially on the T side, that can sometimes be tough to handle. Gade behind the Molotov, and Skadoodle does not show himself. Config's finally been forced back, but there's 2 quick kills and even some damage done onto Tarek. It's looking like 14-1 is likely a 2-on-3 scenario. Skadoodle gonna try and take out Shazam, who gets into some cover. That's the bomb as well, and Tarek, 1 more tick of damage from the Molotov. This push from Stanislaw up connector could end things, but the smoke is still up. Skadoodle in the open. Gonna plant this. The smoke is fading. Shazam waiting for the peek. There's the kill, and now Tarek has to be pushed forward. He does find 1. Picks up the AWP, and with this low of HP, that's probably the best weapon he could hope for. Gonna try and get tricky with the smoke. Peering out towards connector. Doesn't seem like they're aware of it quite yet. He has a chance to turn this into a 1-on-1, but they're so close now. 1 more smoke. He's gonna turn the corner, and Stanislaw is waiting. 14-1 for OpTic, a dominant defensive side.
Yeah, coming into this, I don't think either one of us would have called this as the scoreline at the end of the first half, Jason. In fact, I don't think many people would have. But OpTic, they're in a crazy good situation in spite of, what looked like a decent start from Cloud9. If you recall, Stewie kind of sprung to life very early on, and it was him who was a little bit quiet on train. Ever since that, actually losing the pistol, it all just been the OpTic show. Config, this man on your screen right now, he had a fantastic performance, and as did Gade, the young gun from North Academy.
Yeah.
He, definitely showing why he started to build up such a reputation.
Yeah, I really liked Gade in that game. I really liked from what we've seen from him, over all the maps that we've kind of seen these past couple nights. So that's been really, really cool to watch some of the excitement, because not a lot of people, especially in North America, knew about him coming into this. Obviously impressive stuff, but this is a must-win for Cloud9. That goes without saying. 3 players. They're doing the repeat pistol round, the same one that OpTic did to them, except there's going to be no presence in these B halls. It's just going to mean they're so far away from the rotation. Smokes are down. It'll have to be a quick flank. That's from Skadoodle and Rush, but Stewie can get nothing done. And now OpTic, the last one left, and he's got nowhere to hide. He's got to fight his way out. He's been distracted. 3 kills for OpTic. Even if the flank is so effective, it might not even matter. A 4-on-2. We did see Cloud9 in the first half give up some of these, but it doesn't look like OpTic will.
Yeah, and I mean, even then, that flank gets completely dismantled. They actually discovered Rush and Skadoodle on it. So now it's just Skadoodle. Whoa, that shot! What on God's name was that? That was wonderful. 1v2. But that's going to be it for him. I didn't even see how fast that was. I wasn't ready for that, Jason.
No, you got real excited.
I know.
Your voice went up a couple octaves and everything.
Yeah, well, it can't go down at the minute because of the throat problem. But yeah, I can only go high.
All right, only go high. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, a couple nice shots from Skadoodle, obviously, but it almost feels like right out of T-spawn, OpTic just called the winning tactic as that push in towards underpass from Cloud9 wasn't going to net any results. So tough for them. This has been a really, really, I guess the only way to put it is a terrible game out of the current defending major champions. 1-15. Just a LAN team, perhaps. That could be what it is. Cajun's waiting with the bomb. There is Tarek and OpTic here. 2 CZ75s to defend this B bomb site. OpTic is setting up for a split. Smoke in towards window room. The scout hanging out in the fire, trying to get some damage done. It doesn't work out. You'd expect a follow-up smoke to come in pretty soon. 3 players to hit up towards Catwalk. Pinching with 2 players in those B halls. They would love to find 1 kill on a Skadoodle, but it's not going to come out. Spam from the UMP, not doing damage, but it does force him away. So same kind of effect, just without that kill. And here it is. Now they're going to line up and decide to go boost up onto the box, waiting for a peek, and Skadoodle. They've done this way too patiently, and there's another kill from Tarek. All of a sudden, Cloud9's got some life in him. These 2 players have to do so much coming from halls and OpTic directly beneath him. They think he's been cleared out because of the flames. He can get a kill, but Gade's going to turn the corner. Cajun, excuse me, going to turn the corner, but now OpTic just has to buy time, and he's doing it perfectly. Stewie does go down. Shazam left in a 1 versus 3, and the 2 players coming on Catwalk. He's not even looking in that direction, so Cloud9 hold it off.
And, we know Cloud9, they're a fan of their comebacks, Jason. Is this one that we see becoming a reality? 13 rounds right now between them and OpTic, and they have to go flawless to do it. Are they just delaying the inevitable by winning these rounds, or are we going to see the fabled Cloud9 comeback here on Mirage? It is just going to be a partial buy-in from OpTic, a force buy rather, and they've got some deagles to work with. Be setting up over here toward B. 2 flashes on the back of Stad to try and get them into the site. First one goes in. Now they're chilling on the back of that. They all line up for Tarek, but he's going to go down. OpTic now trying to step up with the MP9. Switches out to the M4, and he locks them all down. And it's going to be Cloud9 onto a 3rd. So they managed to stay alive for the time being.
Yeah, nice sequence from OpTic. A little bit of a throwback to Train. And currently we've got 4 Cloud9 players with exactly 10 kills. Fun fact of the round coming out here. Welcome to ESL Pro League, where everyone is top tier. Big comeback ahead for OpTic Gaming. Or for Cloud9. God bless. It really is really a struggle right now.
Game 2 of 6, of course. You know.
Looks like I need to eat something between these next games.
Well,
Only pistols, no armor for OpTic.
yeah, just these friendly PT50s. And they're stacked up over here toward A. They have got one man in mid. That's Shazam, although he doesn't have the AWP with him. He's only got the Glock, so you know, don't fancy his odds here versus Automatic. He is going to go down, and now the rest of the guys trying to find some success over here in A. Maybe they can hope for a bomb plant, but you imagine with Stewie and Rush having this crossfire, that just isn't going to happen. If you imagined that, you imagined right, because Sand 1v5, he is going to go down, and that's Cloud9 in with a 4th.
It'll be interesting. OpTic, with so many rounds to play with, they may choose to buy up here, but I think it might almost be smarter to just save one more, but they're not going to. Save one more, you get full utility, you can have the AWP out as well, but they want to get right back into the action, so all they need is one round, obviously, and everyone heading towards this A bomb site, and once again, pressure from C9 is going to be towards mid. Contact play here, they're going to come up. Stewie is on top of the balcony. Rush gets dinked back, 23 HP. He goes down without a whimper. They haven't cleared it on their balcony yet, they just do it. Cajun B with that one, and there it is. That's the waterfall, that's the snowball effect for this attack from OpTic Gaming, and that should be the end of the game. 15-4. Tarek and Automatic, everything to do, and it's just on Tarek's shoulders with an AWP. So many opponents to find, and that bomb is ticking down. Even with the kit, he's got to go fast.
That's made that much worse with this wraparound from Shazam. There should be no way for him to get this done. He does put out the first onto config, but you imagine Shazam now just goes in, slips the knife in the back. He almost lays himself to death, so thank God that didn't happen. But Shazam going to be the one to finish it, and that is a dominant victory from OpTic.
I think nading himself would have been pretty cool, actually. That would have been, yeah, why not? That would have been a perfect capstone to this game. Yeah, a disaster for Cloud9, and I don't think anyone saw that victory from OpTic coming in such a large fashion. So impressive stuff from the boys.
Impressive stuff indeed.
Yeah, you really played that one
I
off.
was trying to help Jason out. He's got something on his face. Now, God forbid I do that, but it's okay. It's fine. Noted. What else is noted is that Cloud9 just got smashed on Mirage, and everything that the analyst said, just throw it right out of the window, because that is simply not the storyline that we had here. A great showing from OpTic or a lesser showing from Cloud9?
A bit of both. Obviously, well drilled CT side from the side of OpTic. We got to see Shazam getting off to a much better start. So him and Config kind of leading the pace as we got the game going. And on the other hand, you know, Cloud9 having trained where individuals showed up, especially Automatic, to having just nobody being able to play Counter-Strike. So that obviously is going to play into the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I'd rather focus on the positives of OpTic really and how they play that CT side more so than just the kind of like the collapse of C9 from an individual point of view there.
I feel it was so interesting to see how proactive they were. They were already like doing something, you know, whether it was stacking on A side, config hiding in the sandwich area. Like they were always like aggressive towards some area of the map. You know, we saw some team play stuff as well. The round where Shazam Molotov underground kept Stewie away, and then like slowly but surely like took control over the round, getting the first picks, then falling back and just playing like great Counter-Strike. I want to say that it was more so OpTic playing well than was Cloud9 maybe playing bad. Obviously Cloud9 is not having a great game when they go down 14-1 in the first half, but it was more like to the fact that OpTic actually played a fundamental strong Counter-Strike on that CT side. They did all the right things, very proactive, very reactive, and did pretty much everything right.
Proactive, reactive, and everything going in the way of OpTic to include config coming out. Put a little hurt and a little fire down range. Let's take a look at some of these numbers and see where this one lands when it comes to the head-to-head. Now, guys, if we look at it, we can sit here and say, okay, great showing from OpTic. I have to side with the lesser showing from Cloud9. I think that's really the storyline here.
I really think the ADR figures and the KD you see on the Cloud9 side as well is kind of inflated as well, because you have to consider the fact that the first half ended 14-1. Yeah, they managed to get a couple of ones to pretty up the score before OpTic finishes things off, but there was a point where I can't remember if it was Automatic or Tarek was sitting at 8 or 9 frags as the very clear leader on the side of Cloud9, while the rest of them were hankering around like 2 to 3 frags and so on, basically like averaging out to the point where Cloud9 would get 2 frags per round, and obviously you're not getting close at that point. And you're not going to get a lot of results playing that kind of way or not hitting your shots at all.
You're not going to get any results either when Config is blasting dudes out of the servers. I mean, I
Helps.
think we have some highlight footage of just the pain he was inflicting on Cloud9 here. And Config, a player that we saw relatively quiet across train, it seems as though he's woken up here on Mirage.
He's one of the best players in the world. Let's establish that. Like he's a top 15 player in the world when he's on form, and I think that's the biggest signing this NA League has had in a while. He's a superstar coming over here, and he's showing why. You know, he's a great player, and I think he's one of those types of guy who, when he thrives well, when he's feeling, you know, not only like the in-game server, but when he's feeling life, you know, and he's just feeling stuff. You know, he's more like a momentum player in that sense. In Denmark we have a phrase for it, but like he just likes it when everything is just playing into his favor, right? And
Can we say the phrase, or is it NSFW?
yeah, we can say it's Danish. You won't understand anyway. It's called a humørspiller. So basically, like he's one of those guys when everything is just thriving well in his life, you know, both on the server and outside the server, he's delivering, right?
It's pretty much like an emotional player, and that's all down to how he's feeling on the day. Like if he's happy, he's going to play well.
Like if everything's flowing in the way, then of course it's going to go his way.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just coined that one right now. I can't even make this up anymore. It's ridiculous. Mirage going in the way of OpTic, and that would be a split in maps there between OpTic and Cloud9. First one being Train going in the way of Cloud9. In a storyline that we thought was also going to find Cloud9 finding a victory on the second map, that is just not the case. However, we're going to go to a quick break. I've got some special news for you guys, along with some other special stuff coming up right after this break. So make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.